What's up, YouTube? It's the Contractor CEO back again with another video. Man, look, it's cold. It is cold in South Louisiana, right? It's like 32 and falling. You hear me? All right, I know some of y'all in the Northeast and in the North and maybe even the Midwest, like, man, that ain't cold. But for South Louisiana, 30 degrees, 32 degrees, and falling, that's cold. We're just simply not used to this, right? That's right. So y'all see I got my jogging suit on, thermal shirt up underneath, man, just trying to keep these old bones warm as I can be. But look, nevertheless, man, I got some game for you today. I'm feeling good. Wanted to come and speak some game to you on the channel. Welcome back. Glad you have joined me and have supported this channel, right? Right? All right, so look, topic for the day is how do you get paid by contractors, right? One of my subs asked this question, thought it was a great question. Wanted to make a video about it, right? Lay it out for you how this actually happens. How do you get paid by the contractors, right? All right. So first of all, let me introduce this subject by saying that there are several people who pay you, right? Depending on who you work for. There are several different people that you work for depending on who you work for, right? And so that could be a yard, you know, if it's a limestone yard that you're running out of, gravel yard, something like that, granite yard. All right, that's who would pay you, right? There's also obviously dirt pits, gravel pits, right? That you might be running for that pay you, right? Also, there's general contractors, right, that you might be working for on a construction job, road job, whatever the case may be, asphalt contractor. These are known as your GCs, your general contractors, right? All right, and then there's also the city or the state, right? If you're got a little contract hauling some material, stockpiling for the city or for the state or for your county, for that matter. All right, these are also people that would be responsible for paying you. All right, and let me add one more. You know, it may be a broker that you're going through, a truck broker, not broker in the sense of over the road trucking, but just a sub, somebody that called you to work up on a job with you. They are the ones that are responsible for paying you, right? All right. So let's look at this thing. All right. So understanding that these are people that would pay you, then the next question is when you get paid, right? When you get paid. Let me share with you that most yards, pits, and general contractors pay on a weekly basis. Okay. All right, and that's sweet for us because you've endured the expenses on that previous week. So let me tell you how this happens. Basically, you work this week, right? If you work Monday through Friday of a week, you'll get paid the following Friday, right? Most of us know that is putting a week in the hole. All right. And so some may look at that and say, okay, but you worked the first week and you worked a whole nother second week. Isn't that 2 weeks? No, that's not how it works out here. You work that first week, you get paid the next Friday. We typically look at that as being 1 week, right? Because you finish working with them that Friday, you get a check the next Friday, right? That works for us. Most of us love that. I have basically budgeted and lived my life based upon the fact that's how I get paid. When I sub out trucks, used to sub out trucks, that's how I paid them. They work this week and then we'll pay you the next Friday. Okay. So I think you will discover that 85% of the time you will run across these people, yards, pits, general contractors that's going to pay you every week. All right. But let me just add that there will be some that you maybe encounter that might pay you 2 weeks, right? There's a limestone yard in our area that ever since 20 years ago we're working for them, and even now they pay every 2 weeks, and that's just how they've paid, and we adjusted accordingly to that. Okay. All right. Secondly, the city, the state, the county, sometimes they're a little different. They don't quite operate sometimes on that every week principle. So what I've discovered in working for our county, even our school board, I've done things for. Sometimes they cut checks like they pay the employees, which is what? 1st and 15th, which is pretty much what you would call every 2 weeks, right? All right. But beware that many times when you're working for the state or you're working for the city, that sometimes they can operate on a 30 to 45 day net. All right, you need to be aware of that at the beginning of the contract or beginning of the agreement. Ask them, how do they pay? And most of them, a lot of time, these city and state deals, if you're going direct to the state, through the state, all right, then sometimes they can be on a 30 to 45 day net, right? So what do? You can request, that it could be sooner. Could it be 2 weeks? Could it be 15 days, right? And so be sure to inquire about that kind of stuff when you're negotiating and you're dealing with your GC or whoever about working for them. And there's nothing wrong with that. Make sure. This is one of the things I always try to be sure to ask about is, okay, how do you pay? That's my question to them. How do you pay? So there's an understanding at the beginning. Don't come, the next Friday and you hadn't discussed pay and you looking for a check and they're going to be like, no, that's not how we pay. All right. So that'll be a boo-boo. Okay. All right, so most contract jobs, this is number 3, most contract jobs like construction companies or general contractors, will pay, though, in between 1 and 2 weeks. I mean, that's almost pretty much a given. That's how they operate. They pay their employees pretty much every week, and so they'll pay their independent truckers pretty much the same way, okay? All right, but have that conversation at the beginning so there's a clear understanding and there's no hang-ups or boo-boos on the back end. Look, if this video is of value to you right now, why don't you hit the like, hit the subscribe button, hit that notification bell, share this video with somebody. So that is the answer to when you get paid. How about now I tell you most of the time how you will get paid. Most of the time, how you will get paid in the dump truck business will be with a paper check, right? They'll either hand you a check in their hands. Most of these companies print them out in their office. They don't have to go somewhere and get the check most of the time. They print checks on Fridays and they'll pretty much give you a paper check that you can come pick up, or you can opt to have them to mail the check, that kind of a thing. All right, but most of the checks I get are paper checks, right? 95% of the time, maybe even 98% of the time, it's going to be a paper check. All right. And like I say, you have the option to whether you can pick it up most of the time or you can tell them to mail it. All right. And then secondly, there are some companies. We have like 2 companies in our location, in our area, that has moved to direct deposit. You work, you don't have to do an invoice. They keep up with your hours. They do it all. And then you just look in your account on a Thursday night at 12 o'clock or either on a Friday night or something. And then you'll look and you got a direct deposit from that company. Right. I got 2 asphalt companies that I deal with that's what they do. I have to invoice one. They direct deposit check. The other one, I don't even have to invoice. They keep up with the time. All I do is just look for my check, make sure my time is right. Okay. All right. So that's how you get paid. We've talked about how you get paid. We've talked about when you get paid. What if you don't get paid, right? So what's the remedy for that? What do you do? Well, first of all, make a phone call to the company and find out what happened. That would be your first thing. Don't panic. Don't go crazy. Don't call and cuss somebody out, but call the company. Hey, my name is such and such. I'm with such and such. And I worked last week. I turned my invoice in. Make sure you've done all your part on your end now that you're supposed to do. And then you just say, hey, look, I didn't receive a check. And then just let them see how they're going to remedy the situation. And most of the time, they will remedy the situation. Okay. All right. And, worst case scenario, I've had it happen. Well, look, can we cut it next week? I have had that to happen. And I know sometimes if you've been in trucking long enough, things get tight. You need that check today. And you just simply tell them, well, ma'am, that would be good, but I kind of would appreciate if you could do it today. All right. And you don't have to tell them your business or you in a bind or something like that. You just simply say, without giving any explanation, ma'am, it would be better if you could cut it for me today. I would really, really appreciate it. All right. It's all about presentation. It's all about how you talk to people. OK. All right. So another thing, if you don't get a check, all right, call the main contractor. If you're working for a sub and a sub didn't pay you and they're giving you a hard time, being like they don't want to pay you, right? Call the main contractor, right? Because one of the things that a sub don't want to happen is for a main contractor to get word or get a call from a trucker saying that they didn't get paid. All right. But give them the chance to remedy the situation first. But if they're being crazy with you and you've given them ample opportunity after about a week or so to pay you and they don't or they didn't, call the main contractor. They don't want you doing that. Right. All right, and then lastly, if they don't pay you, something happened, they just, flat out, you get the impression clearly that they're not going to pay you, go ahead and get your lawyer together, right? I have filed a lien on a couple of jobs before in order to get my money and was able to get it. I haven't had to Yeah, I did. One time I've had to get my lawyer to send a demand letter, right? A demand letter, just simply a demand for payment. All right. And a week or so after that, boom, I got my money. I never have actually had to file suit to get paid, right? Because when you start talking about lawyers and that kind of stuff, they tend to come on up with it, right? And it won't cost you much of nothing to get your lawyer to do a demand letter, okay? All right, so look, ladies and gents, that's my spiel for how you get paid by these contractors and in this dump truck business. I hope this video has been helpful to you. If it has, share it, like it, subscribe, tell somebody about the good news you just got, right? Right. So look, Country CEO, no grind, no shine. I'm gone.